Hello everybody, my name is RagingRaptor and I welcome you to a new World of Tanks quick review. And today's tank under our microscope or scope in general to have a look at is the T26E4 Superpershing, or the tank right now which is the tank of the week, at least on the EU server. Well then, let's have a look in this game at the pros and cons of this tank, and plus if it is actually usable or should you actually buy this tank. First of all, to the pros. This tank has with optics, vents and 1 fuel range skill and 445 meters and more fuel range. Or if you have optics, vents and brothers in arms, you will have 447 meters of fuel range, which is actually a great value, and this should definitely not be overlooked, because when it comes to tier 8 games, it already feels really cool when you have this 448 meters of fuel range. You can spot for yourself pretty consistently. You can outspot heavy tanks like an IS-3 consistently and play around, so the skill ceiling is actually rather darn high. To that, this tank gets an unpenetrable gun mantlet. The gun mantlet is super trollish. Like, I had many times being not able to penetrate this really strong gun mantlet, and it's no wonder because it's around 330 effective armor thickness. It has also 10 degrees of gun impression, which is also remarkably and makes it really good while driving around corners or using when it comes to hilly terrain. And this hilly terrain is actually your biggest plus. Why? Because it really does do you a favor with hiding your big weak spots. To that, you have a decent accuracy of around 0.36 when you have a decent enough crew in it. The standard is 0.38, and this is totally enough for playing on decent range, around 300 to 400 meters. And I also think this is the best engagement range for this tank. Middle range, because in closer range you will get a lot of problems with getting hit at weaker parts of your tank. To that is, you have good AP pen, which got just recently, or well, several patches ago, buffed from 170 to 192, which is a great value, meaning you have an easier time penetrating heavy tanks like an IS-3 in an angle. Second to last, we have the troll Frontal Armor. The Frontal Armor is amazingly trollish, and you can certainly do tons of stuff with it when people do not know where to aim. This tank is legit a tank which feels remarkable well to play against bad players, where you can abuse their inexperience for aiming at weak spots. And lastly, it is one of the few tanks left in a tech tree you can buy which has special matchmaking. And obviously special matchmaking tanks are at the moment in a pretty darn bad situation. That's why many of them get buffed, like the T34-3 or the Type 95, and tanks which will be soon to be buffed, like the IS-6 and the KV-5. Speaking of the Type 95, it absolutely feels amazing at the moment with those new buffs. Well, now let's go to the cons of this tank, and the first one is its atrocious HP to ton ratio. It is at 9 HP per ton, 9 horsepower per freaking ton, and this makes this tank so much less viable. It's really sad, and it's really annoying, because what can you do when people are simply not being up to the task? You can't keep up with people, and this tank has roughly the same power to weight ratio as something like an E100 will have, which is simply so sad and annoying. And obviously coupled to that is the speed. You saw it in the beginning of the video. We had quite the slow speed to get and reach our position. And don't forget, this is not a medium tank, this is a heavy support tank. You cannot play it like a Pershing. Second of all, and I have to quickly pause here, oops, not do this. It has armor which is being negotiated. Well, it goes away when the players know where to aim. It simply, the armor doesn't hold up. It's littered with weak spots and weak spaces. Afterwards, with the battle hit mods, we will have a quick look where I was all penetrated. Obviously those 2 HE shots were simply fun and engaging. I quickly have to make a break here, and I need to ask you, well, if you enjoy the videos so far, why don't you think about subscribing to my channel? I'm really close to 1,300 subs, and I think this will be pretty darn cool in the end. And before you might ask, hey Raging, why do you make such an intermezzo right inside the video? I can tell you, it's simply because when you are already so far into the video, I certainly do stuff which you might enjoy, so why are you not staying for more? And yes, shout out to Game Theory for telling this little secret. But we also have some pretty darn bad penetrating hits. And again, the frontal plate of this tank, or the frontal half of the turret, is littered with weak spots. If it is here, which is only 76mm thick, if it is here, which is only 140mm effective thickness, to here, to even more to here, to all the way down here, to all the way up here to those cupola. Careful aiming makes this tank's armor not good, or actually useless. To that combined, you have in general a weak turret when you not hit the spaced armor. It's weak as hell. Plus the sides are also pretty weak, and when you do not really take caution, you can actually get 2 caliber ruled, which makes penetrating your armor pretty more easily. As you can see, sure, he is driving in a stupid angle, but as soon as you see enough from the side armor, you will have a good time. Even the E75 easily penetrates his side, even as he was angled. Lastly, we have a really bad engine. I already said that there is an atrocious HP to ton ratio plus speed, but it gets all topped off by something remarkably bad, and it's a level 6 engine, meaning it has a 20% burn ratio, which is ridiculous. And as you can see, right about now, we will go down, and I'm super sad here that the E75 killed the enemy Superpershing. If he would have killed the FE4202, we would have survived, I'm pretty darn sure. Except we could have done maybe 1 or 2 more shots before the charioteer would have killed us off. So, this is how we end this game, for us at least. It's kind of sad. We did a good job in this game. We did 3,000 damage if I would stop switching around. And yeah, we're sadly not going to win this. I don't think I need to show you, well, I can show you. But 3,000 damage, 600 spotting, which was mostly due to detracking damage. Again, this tank excels at being a heavy support medium at a good amount of distance, which is quite good. Like, playing this tank from a medium distance, it shows its true potential, because hitting your weak spots will be much harder. But the second to last ally is soon to be gone, as he gets splashed by the totally balanced and totally fun to play against artillery. Hashtag no bias at all against stupid ass artillery. But yeah, he did 1 more shot. I think our Löwe is also soon going to die, or Love, for the people which do not have umlauts. And yes, it should be dead right about now. Nice. Well, yeah, sadly we did 1 kill, 3k damage, we blocked 2k, and this will be the end screen. There we go. Why am I dragging this out? Because I also want to show some parts. Again, 3,000 damage is great. 90,000 credits we made. We were allowed to keep 80,000 roughly. But I have to note, I still have a lot of premium shells left over from the Pershing. So, yes, let's call it like that. I didn't have to pay for the premium shells. We did the second most damage in the game, which was nice. But yeah, we couldn't carry those people at all. 21 shots, 19 hits, 13 penetrates. We kind of bounced some shells onto the Type 4 Heavy, because we do have to shoot APCR to penetrate this tank. Otherwise, it is not possible. And shooting HE at this guy is simply not the good idea to do. But now I want to show you what I mean about careful aiming. This is where the Type 5 Heavy hit me once for 600 damage. This is kind of funny. The exact same position made only 500 damage the second time after. But here comes the bad part. This is what I mean. The turret sides are so freaking badly armored, or the turret front even, if it's not hitting the Mantlet. And yes, this was a bad luck shot for us, because the FV422 did not aim at all. He just drove around and hoped for the best. This one was obvious because he had missed sight, but yeah. It really does feel most of the time saddened. And again, this is what I mean. Frontally, if you are directly looking at him, you have 109 effective armor. If you go further out, well, then it gets stronger again, but you have so much space to shoot at, which is simply not strong to hold off consistently tier 7 vehicles. If you go hull down with its great gun depression of 10 degrees, it even gets worse. Why does it get worse? Because you are losing a little... no, not really. You are starting to lose, I think, here of space which you can protect. I think a little bit more goes up. But yeah, again, 108 millimeters of armor will not keep off anything which is at tier 7. And 76 millimeter weak spot, definitely not. The lower plate, which is 200 millimeters thick. Not really. So, all in all, can I approve this tank for you to buy? No. You might say, well, Raging, but it's like the only premium tank of the, well, medium tank line for the Americans, and that, well, I want a premium trainer for my Americans. Why do you really think it's not good? And I still have to say, no, it is not. There are better options, and if you wait a little bit, I'm pretty sure that the Pilot will be back on sale sooner or later again, or the M46 Patton KR, even though the Pilot is much better than the Patton, in my opinion. And the other problem is, if you want to play the T26E4 to its fullest extent, you need a more dedicated crew for that tank, like a crew which is sole purpose is to play the T26E4. Why? Because it plays like a heavy support tank and not a medium tank like the American mediums are. Medium tanks of the American Type 3 are good flankers and have great stabilization on the move. Well, this tank, not really. But guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this quick review. If so, let me know in the comment section below, and don't forget, I'll do more those things. And thanks again for watching.